studio, I have with me my beautiful co. Good evening. How are you
Good
doing?
Evening, Sha. I'm doing great.
We can see
We are
that.
Day of the week.
Of course,
So I can't wait.
everybody's, to be honest, everybody. Now we're going straight to the stories that we have for this evening. First, we're starting with IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu, who is back in court, as the judges give him another chance to open his defense. A case that has dragged on for years might be heading into another decisive phase. What does this mean for justice, the federal government, and the wider security implications? Second, we have some good news on the horizon for pensioners. The National Pension Commission says free health insurance for retirees will kick off in 2025. A welcome move. But the question remains, how will it work and how can the system sustain it? Now, in addition to that, we'll be sharing a viral video from Oshomole that has gone viral, and we'll be giving our takes on that. But before we do that, let's take a look at what's going on in the court with Nnamdi Kanu. We remember, Ifoma, the last time we had a conversation about the Nnamdi Kanu case where he said he was going to open his defense. And the last conversation I remember was him talking about not defending himself anymore. Because according to him, he has gone through his case files and there really isn't any case against him, like he says, and there's nothing to defend. But we are seeing the judge coming again to give him a second chance to reopen his defense. But what's your take on this particular action from the judge?
Okay, I think the judge is actually asking him to remember the last time he was asked to sincerely, honestly seek for legal representation so that his right will not be undermined. And we are coming up, they've come up with another decision. It's more like he should defend, says he chose to defend himself, that they're equally extending that defend tenure for him to defend himself. And he has come out to say that why will he defend himself when he doesn't have a case with them in the first place? And he was charged on 7 counts terrorism, and not just that, the Prevention and Prohibition Act, which does not exist in Nigeria. So he's saying that if you want me to defend myself, what am I defending myself on? It's not in the Constitution. You understand? What you're charging me is not in the Constitution. So how am I to defend myself in the first place? And I think lawyers will maybe tell more if there is possibility for him to defend himself when there is no law kind of making him to defend himself, like he's not written. But
you know, Nnamdi Kanu is not a legal practitioner in this case now. So do you still think him not seeking legal counsel or sacking the legal counsel that he had earlier on is a wise move?
You know, we talked about this, and I said I don't know his reasons for sacking his legal representatives. Maybe they weren't doing enough. It's almost how many years now they've been going through back and forth and the rest of them, and nothing has come out of it, and he took the momentum to defend himself this time around. But I think for me it is not really wise that he has gone ahead to defend himself. I think he still needs this case. According to the court, is a high risk case. It's not something that you should treat, you know, anyhow. It's something that, I mean, it needs to involve a lot of legal counsel before you can defend yourself, if you still choose to defend yourself. And at the same time, they are equally trying to protect his own human rights at the end of the day, which I think that from the court perspective, I think they are right. He should seek a legal representation or even a counsel on how to go about this case.
You know, I couldn't agree more to that. But with what is going on now, do you think that this is going to be a turning point for this long-standing case? If after maybe Nnamdi Kanu agrees to actually reopen his defense, or just to stand on his stance that there is no case against him?
Okay, if he agrees to open his case, then I think maybe he will be definitely given, you know, fair hearing. Let him defend whatever.
You think he'll be given fair hearing?
Yes, he will be. They've given him the opportunity to defend himself. But if he doesn't defend himself, I am seeing the courts taking the momentum to pass judgments, which at the end of the day might be unfair or biased. Yes, at the end of the day. And you know that he is the leader of indigenous people of Biafra, and they are critically watching what is going on.
And like so that you mentioned IPOB, because that's the next question.
So if this judgment tends to be biased, we are going to see more unrest from the people of Biafra.
You know, that's my next question, actually, looking at IPOB. Now, let's take a quick assessment of IPOB's activities ever since Nnamdi Kanu was detained. Now, for a possible continuous detention, let's take a look at what you think IPOB is going to, how they would react on the long term.
Okay, we already saw the protest which happened on October 20th, where Sowore, led by Sowore and the rest of them, and they were saying that it's not just about the fact that he is the leader of IPOB, that is about the justice system being unfair in Nigeria. And everybody in Nigeria has agreed to the fact that you don't have anything against this man. If you're saying that he is a terrorist, the South, the killings in the Southeast, if we are to give a reality check, it has not stopped. So why are you holding him hostage? That is the question. And everybody, like I said earlier, that the indigenous people of Biafra, they are watching what is going on, and they are paying close attention to all the court proceedings, and they're waiting for the moment whereby your judgment is either fair or biased or unfair. So
and how do you think it would, you know, turn out if it's biased?
That's what it's going to fuel unrest, and we're going to see the people of Biafra revolting, you know, aggressively to this. Because in the first place, why did you detain him for this long? And you've detained him for this long, and you are passing judgments that does not favor the people of Biafra. Not just if you look at it in a layman's, you know, view, you will see that there was no point in the first place to detain him. So you're now detaining him and you're passing unfair judgment on him. Come on now. It's really unfair.
No, you've mentioned how, you know, the people of IPOB would react if the sentence in past is perceived as biased. So I'm asking, what personally do you think will be the best case scenario for this case going forward? If we were to come to a resolution, what would that be for you? What would be the near perfect resolution for you?
Well, I think first of all, he should seek legal representation.
Again?
The people, yes, the people in that, what's it called, lawyers will know best as to how to resolve this issue. And at the end of the day, if his defense, it turns in his favor, I don't see a reason why he should be held in, you know, captivity.
So what do you think? I'm just talking about the judgments now, the sentencing, or what would be a near perfect sentencing or conclusion to this long, you know, case?
There shouldn't actually be any sentence in here, because if you say that he is fueling unrest in Nigeria, you have to prove it. So once you don't have proof, you don't have any case against him. You understand? Hence, you don't have to hold him captive. Okay,
so it's to you now. It will be to let him go.
Yes,
completely free.
Let him go.
Beautiful. And is that something you think is achievable with what we have currently?
That is the problem now. I think everybody can agree right now that his captivity is now politically motivated. It's no longer about whether he is a terrorist or he's not a terrorist. It's because of the fact that they know the position that he holds in Nigeria. And once they cut him loose, they are going to see more revolutions. They are going to see more revolts from these people of Biafra. And these are the people since 1960 to 1960 to 1967, I mean 1970 something, that have been seeking for a separate nation. So it's because of that national divide. That's what the present government don't want, and that is why they are still holding him captive up to date.
But do you think, because you just mentioned Biafra now, that after this particular ruling, depending on whatever their conclusions are, that it would just be, do we see other separatist movements, you know, coming up Now, apart from Biafra, that's the people of the Igbo people, the southeastern people, let's take a look at other separatist movements. Is there a possibility of, new separatist movements sprouting out after this particular ruling? Or you just see a continuation of the Biafra people requesting for a difference?
Okay, if we're talking about this, I think the only separate group that have been asking for, a separate nation is the people of Biafra. You understand?
Yes.
And this happened because of the fact that they feel that they have been marginalized for years. Now, we remember when the presidency released the allocation to various states, and we found out that the Southeast have the least allocations. And what does he scream? He screams marginalization. So these are the people that have been, saying that we need a separate nation, since you can't treat us equally with other states. You understand, or other regions. So other regions do not have a problem with the present government because they are being favored by the present government. But these people, this IPOP, are not being favored by the government, and that is why they want a separate nation.
Now, going forward, like you rightfully said, they have been complaining about the fact that they have been treated unfairly for years now. But is this something that you think would be resolved with the people of Biafra going their separate ways? Or is there still a possibility for them to table this and reach a consensus or a compromise somehow?
Now, Nigeria, we've been made to know is we are one, and we are the giant of Africa. If we are the giant of Africa, like you seem to say, then I think that we should see oneness. We should see both religions. We should see ethnic groups get together without all these diverse and the rest of them, this whole conflict and the rest of them. So, but if you cannot maintain that one Nigeria, since these people said you're not treating them equally like you're treating other regions, then give them their own freedom. Let them create their own state. You understand? Now, we remember the news we discussed in the afternoon about demolition in Lagos State. Now, it's still that same marginalization, it's still that same bias, treatment that we are still talking about. So, if you're not ready to treat everybody the same, let them go.
If you're not ready to treat everybody the same, let them go. This is exactly what they told Pharaoh years ago in the Bible. Now, let's also take a quick look, even as we sit and watch as this particular Nnamdi Kanu's case unfolds. Is he going to take that bait to reopen his defense, and how is he going to go about this? And finally, what would be the judgment on this particular long-standing case? But some good news, right? We're seeing that free health care, they will have free health insurance for pensioners starting 2025. This was announced publicly today, and I'm just asking, Ifoma, how big a deal is this?
Retirees are often on fixed incomes, and when they are done with their service tenure or their service year, they retire and they are now on payout, which is now the pension. So this added development is more like payout plus well-being. So they are now saying that we will be providing free medical. I don't know if that is free or whether it's subsidized health care to the retirees. We are yet to, it's
supposed to be free.
It's in not Nigeria. But the thing there is that it's actually a welcome development. I mean, we know that there is inflation in Nigeria. Things are literally extremely costly right now. So cutting down or helping them reduce the amount of money they pay in hospitals should be, an open development. But at the same time, I want to ask, how many people are going to benefit from this? They said that they've already rolled out 20,000 people. And I'm asking, when is the rest of retirees? Because from statistics, you could see that Nigerians have more of retirees. You understand, that are on pension. Most of them are even doing contributory pension, which at the end of the day, some of them are being paid 3 million at the end of their service year, which to me does not make sense. Yes, does not make sense. But at the same time, I'm asking, these 20,000 people, when are they going to start receiving this free healthcare?
They said 2025
services. 2025. I still want to know which date they should be.
Okay,
they should
the
be
exact
exactly
date.
The exact
you know, you're talking 20,000 people. Sorry to cut you short. That would benefit from this. That if they would be able to benefit from this, let's also take a look at the sustainability plan for the federal government. Yeah. Do you think that they have the financial capacity to actually sustain this?
Okay, before I answer that, I wanted to ask, I wanted to, make this known. The 20,000 people. What about the rest of other retirees? Not just that, what about the people in the rural and urban areas? Will it still get to those people? And not just that, we know that Nigeria, we already have NHIA, and where does this PENCOM fit in? And how will the sustainability plan be like? Where are they going to get these fundings from? That's questions that I'm asking to the federal government, because you're coming out to tell us in the news that you are going to cater for their healthcare free, and we don't know where. We don't have a breakdown of where you're going to get
there was
this
a time
from.
Where they touched the emergency fund, the federal emergency fund earlier in the year, or even the middle of the year, where they had to touch from that to settle some bills. So maybe they have a plan.
Maybe they have a plan, but at the same time, I think a working government should provide accountability.
Of course.
We should know where this money is supposed to come from. Is it coming from taxpayers' money? Is it coming from more loans? Is it coming from what is it coming from what you just mentioned? And how many years was the plan? Was the longevity of this new thing that you're bringing on board? Is it just these 20,000 people that will benefit from them, and after 20,000 people, the rest are left to cater for their healthcare? Those are the questions that we ask.
I like that. Those are the questions. At the end of the day, is this sustainable? And after all said and done, is this going to be a situation where they'll go back to square one when the government can no longer continue what they have started? But for pensioners now, how do we think that they are going to receive this announcement? Of course, it's something to be happy about, but with, the history of Nigerian and the Nigerian government with Nigerians, there's been a lot of disappointment in the past, promise failure here and there. We've seen what happened earlier in the year when we saw pensioners, when we saw the police force, pensioners asking for their money or increase in their money, or even healthcare pensioners and all of that. What do you think this would mean for the pensioners we're even talking about?
Okay, you know that these pensioners, the entire Nigerians, have lost confidence and trust in the government. It is always, for me, announcements in the headlines if I'm to tell you anything about Nigerian government, and which I think is not far from these pensioners. They're equally Nigerians. They are seeing this news, and they will come out and they will tell you, do you know how many times they've said they will increase our pension? Do you know how many times they said they will increase our salaries, and they never did that? So this might not actually be new to them, but at the same time, I think they might be open to this development. And I wanted to ask, when I was talking about this earlier, this free service health insurance that they want to grant to pensioners, I want to ask, does it include critical illnesses? Let me say, for example, there's a patient or a pensioner that's a retiree that have some organ problem. Does it involve surgeries? Is it going to be free? Those are the questions that
we need to understand the limitation for the free health insurance.
So they need to break down this thing. It's not all about coming out to make flashy headlines.
But free health insurance, we also need to ask for life insurance. Why is it that Nigerian government is not also looking at life insurance as well?
I think at this point, maybe let me see if I can defend the federal government small.
Okay.
You understand?
Carry on.
Yes, let me defend them small. We already know what's going on right now with the US sending down their troops and everywhere, them trying to act accordingly as they should have for a very long time. So I would just say maybe this is a baby step for them. They are taking this, you know, this push or this pressure from
baby
US,
steps.
yes, to better the lives of people in Nigeria. So let's just say maybe it's baby steps.
Baby steps. Now, finally, before we touch on this viral video that I want us to give our comments on, you know, what indicators do you think Nigerians should watch out for in 2025 to know if this program is still on track?
2025 is already ending in December.
So
I think what we are watching out to see is testimonies from these retirees.
Exactly.
That, yes, they can now access hospitals free of charge. You understand? Those are the testimonies that we want to see, not just this.
And you know, earlier in the year as well, not just earlier, you know, later in the year, we also saw where the government came out to say that they had given out a certain amount of money to people, and we didn't see the people that had gotten this money. 25,000 naira. They said they sent it to the poorest of poor, and we had a problem with that data. So it would be really interesting. You said they've already mapped out 20,000 pensioners who would benefit from the free health insurance. Let's have them, or if they can't access social media, let's have their kids, their family, their loved ones come tell us, oh, this is what they have benefited from the federal government. Well, I think this is where we're going to call it a wrap on this particular story as we move on to this particular viral video, still talking about the US-Nigerian tension and the US threatening military action and withdrawing aid to Nigeria as a result of what it calls a Christian genocide going on in Nigeria. Update on that, we are seeing Oshomole now coming out to say that the Chinese, because before now, the Chinese government has come to say that it is fully supporting Nigeria and Nigerians, stating that Nigeria is a sovereign state and the US should not be interfering with its business. Now, he has come out to accuse China. Anyways, let me not spill too much. Let's take a quick look at the video and we'll return.
This illegal mining, they use choppers, they procure arms exactly the same way as our military were doing in the South. They give them arms, they use choppers to come and cut away the gold, and they take them out of this country and make billions of US dollars. And the federal government is not doing what it should be doing. I took this letter to the former president when I was national chairman of APC, and I said, call the general to give you more brief. In fact, what is happening, or what subsequently happened in that part of the country, was exactly what the general told me was going to happen. Because these guys have been weaponized by the illegal big men who deploy them, secure territories, and the weapon is meant to protect the Chinese and other foreigners who they actually employ to carry out the mining. And on occasion, they use the same weapon to carry out banditry, kidnapping, and all of the terrible things that are going on. Chief of Committee Chairman of Defense Staff, tell the defense I said so. That some retired military officers, army officers are involved in it. The day we can't tell the truth, this country cannot flourish. We can't change our, you know, when it affects our people, we are at our best. We talk strong. Some other people appear to be above the law. That is what is going on with solid mineral. It is not that we don't know where it is. We have a whole survey of where we have what across the length and breadth of Nigeria. We also know, I mean, everybody complaining about certain people from certain nationalities. How they got here, even as we are talking now, they are doing those illegal mining. And those guys are getting richer when Nigeria State is getting poorer. But we carry the consequences of banditry, kidnapping, and that thing, which these on illegal armed men, which they equip. Sir, who can afford to buy a chopper to land in an illegal mining site, cut away gold, return to Fidelity, and then on the way to airport, bam, take them out of the country? This is happening. So I agree with you, but my position is that we shouldn't, as senators, be lamenting. As senators, we should fix the problem. We should tell the executive, you must deploy exactly the same force that you deploy against illegal oil bunkering. That same force should be deployed to deal with criminals who are money. When I say criminal, it can be a retired general, it can be a retired permanent secretary, it can be a retired trade unionist or a retired labor leader. Whoever is involved, they should be dealt with. Let Nigeria see that we are not condoning this. We are not lamenting what is going on. You know, when you have a country of people who are above the law because they are supposed to have served the country, they have retired, and now they become.
All right. We just saw that video and it is making waves. Even a lot of people on X tagging the US government, saying that this is a member of the leading government coming out to make such interesting proclamations, saying that you have even ex-military generals and personnel who are involved with the banditry going on in Nigeria, the terrorism going on in Nigeria, and also accusing the Chinese government of illegal gold mining in Nigeria. It is a whole lot. It is, you know, a collabo of a whole lot. And he has come out to urge the Nigerian government to stand on the truth so that we can see positive change. Now, I'm just going to go straight to what I saw on X now. A particular post that they made, a Republican, a senator made, a U.S. senator made, saying this is what they expect of the Nigerian government, that one, they actually come out to say the truth instead of denying it, instead of denying claims, and two, that they work hand in hand to map out ways where they can actually fight and end this genocide. And also every law, let's see, they mentioned the Sharia law that encourages inhuman punishment against Nigerians and, you know, citizens of Nigeria in different states in Nigeria, and finally just to save the Christians in Nigeria from being targeted. Now, you know, we're just going to give our comments on this, but this is what we are seeing Senator say, you know, Shomole coming out to say, and he holds a very interesting position, being once the former APC national chairman, saying that he submitted a certain list to the former president and all of that. What do you have to make of what he just said?
Okay, I think in as much as sometimes I don't really know the stand of Adams or Shomole. Sometimes he's standing with APC, sometimes he's standing with Labour Party, sometimes he's standing with PDP. But I think his assertions are quite apt. I think it's high time for the government to speak the truth to power. But the thing there is that they can't actually speak the truth because they know the agreement they had behind closed doors with these Chinese, and that is why Chinese can come out with any policy and the federal government will succumb to it. We remember when they said they are now introducing Chinese language, Mandarin, yes, to Nigeria, and Nigerians accepted it as one of the mandatory, you know, courses or what's it called, subject in schools, which to me does not really make sense because we don't even know our indigenous languages to learn a different man's or foreign tongues, you understand? But aside from that, I think that is, you know, quite apt. It's time for Nigerians to, or be the government to stop this genocide attack. And like I said before, it's not like the government don't know what to do. They know exactly what to do. They know even if they don't know what to do, let me just put it like that, they know the people that they can beckon on. You understand? But at the same time, I still made us know that these people that you still beckon on, you should be or tread carefully that you don't over depend on them, because at the end of the day, nobody is giving you bread without expecting tea in return. So
all right, thank you so much, Ifoma Oji, for that, you know, contribution. It is still an ongoing conversation. Every single day you wake up, make sure you're close to your news source. You stay close to active citizens, because this next few weeks, this next few months, it is going to be a turning point for not just the Nigerian government, but for us as a nation and as a people. It is time for us to be abreast with what is going on in the nation and around the world. But thanks again, Ifoma Oji, for doing this with me this evening. And to our viewers for riding with us. If you're joining us for the first time, This is Active Citizens Parliament right here on Active Citizens. And what do? Simply, we just talk about politics in Nigeria and outside of Nigeria, share our comments, and hope that you engage as well. If you're yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel, this will be a perfect time to do so. Do well to subscribe and follow across all social media platforms at Active Citizens. You can find me on my personal pages as well, at Sharon Enemchukwu.
You can find me on Facebook at Oji Sophia and on Instagram at Missolex.
All right, till we come your way again tomorrow, do have a good evening.